Hi, welcome to Amdari. If you're working with data in Microsoft Excel, then knowing functions will make your analysis more efficient and eventually save you hours. In this video, I'll be showing you 8 functions you must know as a data professional working with data in Microsoft Excel. And the first function I'll be talking about is how to make your sum more dynamic with the use of the offset function. So in this scenario, imagine you want to find out the total sales for the past 3 months in this instance. Instead of using the sum function and editing your sum function every now and then, so for example, the sum function takes all of this input. So the sum from January to December is 95,600. But you want for the past 3 months or for the past 6 months. So we'll be finding out this with the use of the offset function in combination with sum. So equal to sum, then, so the offset requires a reference. Our reference will start from the last sale here, which is December. And we are not referencing the rows and the columns. What we need is the heights. And for this, we want it to count backwards. Height to be this, but instead of E3 alone, it's be negative E3. And then we can close this. So we have 79,500, which is the sum of the last 3 months. So if this changes to 6, you can see our result also changes to 56,100. This changes to 9, our result changes to 78,600, which is the total sales for the past 9 months. Second function I'll be talking about is the index and match, which we want to use to find out the salary of this particular employee. First off, let us find out what the match does. So we say equal to match, equal to match. Our lookup value is Ryan, and then our lookup array where we want the results, where we want to search from is this column here. And then our match type is exact match. So you can see now, so we have this particular employee to be in row 11, which is correct, but the result we want is the salary. So I'm just going to wrap this match in the index function. So I have index, our array, which is the table here. And then the row number is the results that this is bringing out. And then the column number is where we want the result to come from, which is in column 4. Then I'm just going to close the brackets and press enter. So we have the salary of this employee to be 51,000. If we change this to a different employee, you can see Olivia to be 60,000, David to be 58,000, which is correct. So that is how to use the index and match function. The third set of functions I'll be talking about is the count if, sum if, and average if function. So in this instance, we have department, accounting, customer service, executive, and we want to find out the staff number, the total number of staff in each of these departments. You can see the data sets here. So instead of counting manually, all we're going to do is to use the count if function, which should be equal to count if. We have the count if here, and then our range is this particular table where we have the department from here to the last one, and then our criteria would be this particular department accountant. So we can have the total number of staff in each of these departments, accounting to be 4, human resources to be 4, sales to be 14. So now what we want to find out the total sick days. We have the sick days for each of these departments, for each of these employee. So to find the total sick days, we're making use of the sum if function, which is to calculate the total number of sick days that each of these departments has taken. So we have equal to sum if. Our range will be this department, and then the criteria will be accounting, and then the sum rate, which is what we want to return, the days that has been taken as sick leave, and then we press enter. So we have our results. Total number of sick days from this accounting department is 15, customer service 10, IT 18. So now to find out the average hourly rates, if you make use of the average if function, we have the average if. Our range still remains the same, which is the department. Then our criteria is accounting, and then the average range, which is the hourly rate we want to calculate. Then I'm just going to click on enter. So we have the average hourly rate for each of these departments. The fourth function I'll be talking about is the VLOOKUP. Say for instance, we have this inventory, we have this product in the inventory, and then want to find out the price of each of these products without having to scroll to the end of the list. So make use of the VLOOKUP. The VLOOKUP looks for a value in the leftmost column of the table and then returns the value in the same row from a column we specify. So make use of the VLOOKUP. Our lookup value is this particular product name, sugar. Our table array is this table here. So I'm just going to click on Control, Shift, and the down arrow to select the table. And then our column index number, which is the column we want to return the results from, which is the column B here. And in terms of numbers, is column 2. And then the range lookup, we want it to return the exact match. Close the bracket and click on enter. So now we can see that the price of this product, sugar, is $15. If we change this from sugar to a different product, we have milk to be $5.4, we have bread to be $2.75. The fifth function I'll be talking about is the text join function. The text join function is used to concatenate columns together. So in this instance, we want to have the full address. So we want to combine the house number, the street name, the city, and the state. So all we need to do is to use the text join. So you can see concatenate a list or range of text strings using a delimiter. So our delimiter in this instance is the comma. After each of these house number, street name, we want to have a comma there and a space immediately after the comma. Then to ignore whether a column is empty or not, so I'm just going to use true to ignore empty cells. And our text one is the house number. So I'm just going to select the house number, the street name, the city, and the state. Close the bracket and click on enter. So now we have the full address with the use of text join. Another way to do this is to make use of the concat function or make use of the ampersand sign in Microsoft Excel. The sixth function I'll be talking about is the if error. Say, for example, we want to find out the revenue per unit sold of these items, meaning we want to divide 15,000 by 30. But then some of the units sold are 0, so we should expect an error in the results because you cannot divide by 0. Say, for example, we have equal to 15,000 divided by 30. I'll click on enter. So you can see the error, divide by 0 error. So instead of returning this error, we wanted to return a different value instead. This is where we make use of the if error. So first write equal to if error, and then our value is the division we actually want to carry out. Then value if error, we wanted to return the word missing data. I'm just going to close the bracket and click on enter. So you can see where we have 0 as the unit sold, instead of returning an error, we can now have the results to be missing data instead. The seventh function I'll be talking about is the learn and trim function. You can see in this department, we have IT, HR, sales, but they have characters that are not visible, which might be space characters. So let's say, for example, let's just use the len function to see the length of each of these characters, each of this cell. So equal to len, our text to be this. And you can see for IT is showing 7 characters instead of just 2, which is wrong. And then if you want to summarize the departments in this table now, using the unique function, I'm just going to use equal to unique, and then our array will be this table here. We can see our results. We have different results for IT because there are more characters than usual. So what we need to do is to make use of the trim function. So equal to trim. So trim will remove all spaces from a text string except for single spaces between words. And then we select the text to be the department. So now we can now use the len function again to see if our result has been corrected. So now you see, for IT, we have 2, for HR, we have 2, which is correct. Now let me edit this unique function to change the array into what we've just cleaned up. Now we can see IT, HR, sales, finance, and marketing without any form of errors caused by the spaces or the characters that are not visible in this table. Lastly, the eighth function I will show you in this video is how to calculate the number of days between 2 dates. We have the start date and the end date. So to find out the number of days between the start date and the end date, we can use the days function. So equal to days, then the end date, which is what we select first, and then our start date. Then I'll close the brackets. So between January 1, 2024 and 10 January 2024, we have 9 days. So the gap between the start date and the end date is 9 days for the first row. And then for 5th January to 20th February, we can have 15 days. But then let's say you want to find out the total number of working days between the 2 days. This days function will not serve that purpose. So instead, you use the function equal to network days. So the network days return the number of all work days between 2 days. So our start date is 1st of January and our end date is 10th of January. So between 1st of January and 10th of January, we have 8 working days. Between 15 December and 31st December 2024, we have 12 working days as well. So these 8 functions will guide you in your work as a data analyst. If you like to work on real-life projects, you can check out the Amdari platform.